Welcome to Tigers Untapped, a Bluff City Media podcast. Stepping up to the microphones are your hosts, Trey Lasley and TJ Willis. Pull up your chair, grab your favorite brew, and enjoy the conversation. Now, let's get to the show.
What is up? Welcome back to Tigers Untapped, episode 33, brought to you by Hoop City Basketball Club. They got basketball camps all summer long for boys and girls ages 5 to 14. Their next camp is July 31st through August 3rd at Independent Pres. You're going to have skills, drills, contests, games, expert instruction, reversible jersey, a camp certificate you'll get. If you go to bluffcitymedia.co/hoopcity, you get $95 off your registration fee. So go sign up. And shout out to Hoop City. I think their 17 and under team made the Final Four at the Adidas tournament this weekend. So shout out to them.
Yeah.
Got a good little club going on over there. Tej, we're back after a short hiatus.
A little small hiatus.
How was your 4th of July celebration?
It was good, man. I didn't do too much. Kept it pretty chill and low key. Hung out with the family and ate some cake at your daughter's birthday. Does that count?
I think it counts. That cake was delicious, by the way. The Costco bakery knows how to make a cake.
That is.
They're I don't know if you guys have gone to Costco and gotten a cake from them, but their request process is very old school. It is literally a shoebox cut out, and you fill out a piece of paper and put it in there. There's nobody there. It is just a box. You put a piece of paper in, and you trust the process, and your cake is ready when you need it ready.
Hey, I'm not questioning. It seems to work because that cake was delicious.
No, it was great.
Was it like a banana cream at the bottom? What was that?
I don't know exactly the flavor. It was just a white cake. What was we checked the white cake box.
Okay.
And, they don't have a whole lot of variety of options. You got chocolate or white, and then a couple design options. And you can put a phrase, if you will, with Joe's happy birthday. But
Wise.
Teach, tell the folks that we got a new brewery tonight.
Yeah,
man, had a Hook Point. What are we sipping on?
This is Flat Hat by Hook Point Brewing. So I think this is actually from Collierville, technically, but they have a tap room in East Memphis, and that's where I got these. The Ready Room at Brookhaven. Go try it out.
Cool Collierville. Wow, never heard of Hook Point. Glad to have you introduce me to this one, Teach.
Smaller, local. Here's what's important. This is 97 calories for a pint.
That is light.
It's pretty good. You don't normally get that at the pint.
That is light.
So if you folks out there watching your carbs, under 2 carbs right here.
Wow. 97 calories, but 4.9%.
Yeah, I mean. Okay. Trey, what do we talk about? It's been like 6 weeks since we've recorded. I don't even know where to start.
Well, the day after we last recorded, we got a big announcement.
Yes, we did.
Well, Jordan Brown has committed to the Tigers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a piece you wanted, a piece you needed. Hopefully he gets graduated, is eligible. But, I mean, you're talking about a former McDonald's All-American. He's played 4 years of college basketball. Yep. Talked about started out in Nevada. He was a Pac-12 Sixth Man of the Year after transferring to Arizona. He's been all Sun Belt the last 2 years. And then this past year, he was the Lou Henson Award winner, which is given to the country's best mid-major player.
It feels like a made-up award for just him specifically last year.
Well,
I've never heard of that.
Well, we're not mid-majors, so I don't know why you would keep up with it.
That's fair. It's fair. No, huge.
But an impressive resume nonetheless.
Yeah, I think that's a huge grab. I'd somewhat even argue it's probably the largest.
Literally a huge grab.
6'11", right? 6'11", 235, yeah. Yeah, I just, this late in the game, you don't expect to grab a player of his caliber. And maybe Penny could be onto something here by waiting so long. Like, let everyone rush in and fill up their rosters early on.
Was this intentional?
No, it probably wasn't. But
will it be going forward?
There's an argument to be had.
Is there a strategy behind this and waiting?
I mean, I feel like there's an argument to be had. If you go in and start just filling up your roster super early in, May? I think that's when the deadline was, end of May, right?
Yeah.
You fill up your roster, you don't even have a spot for Jordan. So now you got to tell someone else to leave.
And maybe not even just from a pure spot standpoint, but in the NIL game.
Yeah.
We talk about if we'd bumped up and given Bradley what he was potentially asking for, like, do you have enough left to get somebody like Jordan Brown or potentially Javon Quinterly, who's we're still waiting.
We'll touch on that.
If you're listening, we know that you are. We are waiting still, Javon.
But yeah, I mean,
that plays a part of it as well.
I definitely think it plays a part.
Because now you're at a point where not only do other teams have roster spots full, but if they do have something open, a lot of their NIL might be eaten up at this point.
Yeah. And for a while there, I know a lot of people were hammering that we needed a point guard. But to me, it kind of always felt like center was the real position of need, right? Because you didn't know if Malcolm was coming back. DeAndre has been in this limbo of eligible, not eligible for that last year.
Right.
You have some guys who can play center at the time. Like, obviously, Chandler was on the roster. He's been on the roster. We thought he was going to be back. So you had him. So there was some, like, a safety net there. Nick Jourdain can play some 5 for you if you need him to. So you had some guys, but no one that was really just that guy, right? This is that guy.
I mean, he is. This is your day one starter. I mean, 30 minutes a night.
Was it Rothstein that said David Jones could be the conference player of the year?
Timothy, he said a potential candidate.
Whatever.
For conference player of the year, yes. He did have a very similar tweet around Jordan Brown.
Had he said it with Jordan Brown, I'd be like, that
You'd
makes
have been
perfect
all over
sense.
it? Okay,
Yes.
I was going to bring that up because Rothstein did have a similar tweet. He did not say a player of the year candidate. He just said an all AAC potential player.
I think that's a guarantee.
Which,
assuming he comes and he's healthy,
I don't see how he wouldn't be.
If he's on the roster and plays,
you're talking about a guy he's won awards in every conference he's been in.
Yeah, 2-time All Sun Belt, 2-time
Pac-12 player, or 6 man of the year, or whatever it was. Like,
yeah, that's a first team All American, or first team All AAC.
I would love for him to be a first team All American.
Who's the last All American? CDR?
Yeah, CDR. Right? Consensus All American for basketball?
Yeah, I think that's
if we're talking all sports.
No.
Okay. It was what? Henderson? We had a couple there right in a row. I mean, Anthony was one.
Anthony is the only one I can think of. I don't think Henderson got it.
I thought Henderson was one. Maybe he wasn't consensus, but he was named one.
Anthony was definitely an All-American.
I mean, if we want to talk about just All-American, like Seth was the last one as a freshman All-American.
The freshman, does that count?
It probably doesn't. But
Oh, no. Before him was Taj. He was freshman All-American too.
He was. That he was. But I would love nothing more than Jordan Brown to come in and be not only all AAC, but an All-American.
I mean, you put up...
And if he puts up 20 and 10...
Yeah, exactly. You put up 20 and 10.
And we make a run, he very well could be.
So, assuming he graduates, he's here, he's going to be eligible. You know, that always kind of worries me a little bit with the eligibility issues. We're still kind of on the fence if he's going to make it. We're going to assume he makes it, right? He's on the roster. You have... Give me your 5, just as of today, assuming everyone we have comes.
Are you counting Quinterly and DeAndre or what we have right now?
No, don't count those guys yet.
You're 5 with what we currently have. I got to go Caleb. Caleb and Jordan. David, Leonard, and Jourdain.
Yeah, it's probably something like that, yeah.
Caleb at the 1, Jones or Leonard 2, 3, Jourdain 4, and Brown at the 5.
How many of those would be a preseason all AAC, like first teamer?
I think Caleb Mills could be one, and Jordan Brown could be one.
I think that's right.
I mean, and if you go by what Rothstein says, then David Jones could be one.
Did we have any preseason?
And then if you believe the hype, which there's a lot of hype around TFL Leonard, that's, I mean, that seems very ambitious, but
it does say 3 of them.
The best possibility is 4 of the 5.
All right. So where I was going with that is,
but I mean, if you let me include DeAndre and Quinterly, then I would say that your starting 5 is probably all AAC. I don't know how they wouldn't be.
That's what I was going to say. So you're telling me 2 makes sense now, and we potentially get DeAndre back. Like, there's no way
that's written in Sharpie, etched in stone.
My point was, if you get him back, like, does this sound insane that you could have potentially Caleb Mills, potentially Jordan Brown, DeAndre Williams? That 3?
I don't think it's insane. I think it's just the reality of this roster that's going to be put together, top to bottom.
I mean,
if it works out how we think it should, is Penny's best roster he's had.
Oh, yeah. I think so. Because and I don't mean this in like a bad way, but like last year was KD, DeAndre, and some dudes.
So top heavy.
It was just some dudes.
So top heavy.
Right? I mean, like,
you say just some dudes. You had guys that played their role and played it well.
Correct. But no one knew who Keontae Kennedy was, right? You had to look into him. And then even then you look at him, you're like, wasn't he shooting like 30% from 3? Like, what's this guy going to do? I'm going blank on his name. The guy who is currently with Philadelphia.
Elijah
McCadden. He was like 6th man of some nobody. You're like, what?
He comes here and he's an elite cutter. I mean, dude just found lanes to the basket left and right.
So, like, it was essentially KD, DeAndre, who I think they were both preseason on all AAC.
Yeah.
And then just some guys in, like, the nicest way possible. Like, I mean, that's kind of what we were working with.
Yeah.
And then now you have names that are pretty recognizable. I mean, I'd say Jourdain's probably not that recognizable. We're familiar with him because he played at Temple.
Right.
But still, he checks your boxes. I mean, he is what Elijah McCadden turned out to be, essentially. Like, guys that are just going to do their job, show up, and bring their lunch pail to work kind of guy.
Which is what you need.
Is what you need. And you're telling me we could potentially have Jalen Duren, or not Jalen Duren. That'd be great. Can we make that happen?
Wow.
Having, I was thinking about preseason Summer League stuff, yeah. Having Jordan Brown, DeAndre Williams.
The 2 of them together.
How do you stop that? Who else?
I don't know that you can.
Who in the AAC has bigs like that?
Who in the country has 2 bigs like that?
Well, I'm sure somebody does. We're just not thinking of it. I'm sure someone in the Big Ten has 2 gigantic bigs that can.
I don't know. I mean, does Zach Eddy count as 2?
As big as he is?
Is he the same as DeAndre and Jordan if they clone themselves together as one?
No, but that is absurd. If
they wore a trench coat and DeAndre was on Jordan's shoulder, that whole scene.
Yeah, it's like in Little Rascals.
Yeah,
I think that's what that was. No, but the sky's the limit. That's absurd. That's the best roster Penny has ever had. I would honestly put that roster as probably one of the better rosters Memphis has had in a good while, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say back to 2008, but like,
it feels like it.
It's going back a while.
I mean, you said that, and I'm trying to think. I'm like, the Tyreek roster was good, but it's there. It's back.
I'm trying to think back on paper, like between Shaq and Austin and
the 4 Kings year, the roster, but it kind of gets
Yeah, but you know what they did, so it didn't count.
Yeah.
Or what they didn't do. I guess that's the way we should probably worry that.
Yeah. Anyway, it's been a while.
Yeah.
10 plus years.
Easily. Yeah,
since you've constructed. And that's, again, there are still a couple pieces that need to fall into place. We've been hearing the last week or so about Quinterly. We've been the leader in the clubhouse. Nothing's come out.
Sure.
He took a visit. It was reported he visited last week. I think it was like Thursday.
Yeah.
You see that, at least I see that report come out, and it's like, okay, locked up. He's on the visit. We're getting a commitment in the next 24 or 48 hours. That time is come and gone. We are now Monday, which is 4 days after he visited.
Still nothing.
Are you worried?
I mean,
what's he doing? He's shopping around.
It's tough, right? Is this a situation? Because hear me out when I say this. An Alabama guard visits Memphis.
I know where you're going.
Everyone thinks it's done.
We're the leader in the clubhouse.
Yep. New Alabama point guard transferring to Memphis. You're the front man for it. And then things go quiet and it gets kind of weird. It just feels like we're getting Bradleyed. And I'm not saying it's the same situation. I think we know how the Jalen Bradley thing played out now. But that's kind of what it feels like, right? I don't think it's far-fetched for me to take those two things and say, hey, this guy who's a point guard from Alabama and this guy who is a point guard from Alabama both visit Memphis, and then after they visit, it goes kind of quiet.
Yeah,
you're supposed to be the front man for them.
I don't think it's wild to think that Quinterly is out there trying to see how much he could get from anybody.
Sure. I think I'll say this. In Hitman, I trust.
If you haven't, you should sign up for Bluff City Media subscription. You get a link to the Discord, which is our message board without being a message board. It's a group chat, which is pretty active all day long.
Definitely all day long. It's more like, I'd say it's new age message board.
I guess. I like it better.
I definitely like it better.
But nuggets being dropped in there. If you want to know the true latest up on Quinterly, hop in that Discord. Use TJ and Trey as a promo code. You get 10% off. As we talk about that, TJ, on 3, and I know people are like, oh, their NIL valuation, but just for S's and G's, shits and gigs, he's listed at $280K as his NIL value. What would you pay Quinterly? What is he worth?
I mean,
what's too much for 1 year of service?
That's a good question because I think he rounds out this team dramatically.
So do I.
And it's not to say that Mills can't be a point guard and your ball dominant guy. I just think having one more guard, and we talked about this a couple episodes ago, I think they need one more guard to just really
Quinterly at the 1 and Mills at the 2 is exactly what you're looking for.
I mean,
the two of them playing together.
We're talking funny money. It's not my money, so I don't care.
Right.
Like,
Monopoly money.
Anything over 400 seems absurd.
A lot.
But like at this point, like if you're in the NIL game in Memphis and like you've got some cash lying around, like this is the guy who's going to put this team over the top. Like I'll say 400 is a lot of doll hairs. And that's
worth it. Worth it for a year.
I mean, I don't know if anyone ever really gets their ROI on.
I guess it's hard to say if you don't have like a guaranteed Final Four or something.
Yeah,
but
no,
I mean, my assumption would be that you've got, obviously, given the DeAndre situation, you know, I don't think he's coming back for nothing, right? So I don't know exactly how much is there, but
friendship dollars.
I think you give Quinterly a good bag.
Yeah,
probably more than you would have given Bradley. At least I would.
Oh yeah, I think he's more proven.
4 solid years. I mean, I know he tore his ACL 2 years ago, and he's come up. But like hindsight, if we got Quinterly, I would be glad we didn't give Bradley a larger NIL deal and get him, and then miss out on Quinterly later.
I think it may have been Kenny and Christian talking about this. With, let's assume you get Quinterly, DeAndre, Jordan Brown, like the number of games played between those dudes
collegiately
is
wild.
absurd.
Yeah. I mean, with them, I mean, it's been thrown out there, the average age of the team would be like just over 24 years old, which is older than the Grizzlies' average age, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
Speaking of which, can you guys see TJ's
What's wrong with it, dude?
Microsoft Paint T-shirt that he created? It's beautiful.
If you don't know NBA Paint, I mean, this is
That looks exact. I'm not even. I think that may be out of my files. That is a grizzly that I drew when I was 11 or 12.
Look. It's aggressive. It's scary. There's a basketball
That's been bitten, but is still inflated.
No, it's flattened out. You just can't see it. It's 2D.
Gotcha.
But this is where it's at. NBA Paint. Go support them. They're on Twitter. They make fun videos.
That's fun.
Kenneth, was that y'all? You and Christian talking about that?
Yeah, we went through the starting five. The projected starting five. If everybody comes together like we think they might. I think it's 25 or 26 years of college experience in the starting five.
And I think Penny is starting to pick up on that now, or last year, probably more than ever.
It was definitely last year in the whole don't ask me dumb effing questions.
Yeah, I think he was like, I need more experienced players.
I mean, that's just across the board in collegiate basketball now. But then you've got people like, did you see what Calipari said about it all? Mm-mm. That it's like dangerous to have 26-year-olds playing against 18, 19-year-old freshmen.
That made me so mad.
It's like, dude, you don't care when those 18, 19-year-old freshmen go to the NBA and play against 30-year-old. Like,
yeah, what's it matter?
What are we talking about?
I mean, that had to have been a direct shot at DeAndre and
it was
Penny.
100. Yeah, I don't see how else it was. And nationally, people are still complaining about DeAndre getting another year. And it's like, what does it matter if he didn't start college on time? Why should he be treated any differently than a kid that started at 18 and plays 5 years of basketball? Like,
Yeah,
what is it?
Are people,
why does age matter?
Are people boycotting anyone that goes on a mission from BYU?
No, they don't say anything about that.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone say that guy was on a mission. He's 24. Sorry, no one's complaining about Austin Ani.
That's true, but he's
30 years old playing quarterback in college.
I agree with you. I mean, I guess Stetson Bennett got a little bit of talk about it, but I don't feel like it was to the extent that DeAndre, like, I mean, some of these national media guys are like protesting that he should be able to ever play basketball again.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I said this in the Discord. We had a whole discussion about this, and I just think DeAndre Williams, the critique that he gets from national media, from anybody that's not in Memphis that doesn't know his story deserves to be celebrated and told. Like, it needs to be told, because this guy is the ultimate example of somebody who did not allow other people's malfeasance, if you will, get in the way of his dreams, right? Like, he was treated terribly. He was misled. He was misguided. And he could have given up and nobody would have ever said another word to him about it. He could have stopped playing and been like, man, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
But he fought back. He went to night school, went to night school, got his degree, and now has eligibility.
And that's all prior to what's even happened recently with him too, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, you're talking about a guy who is prepping to try to play professionally and then has a tragedy in his family and doesn't get, you know, to train and do everything that he wants to do to be able to try to play professionally either. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's a different situation. And I don't understand why who cares if he's going to be 27 years old?
Yeah, it's a weird situation. It's not something that is common. It's not something that should become common if anyone just does their job correctly, right? I mean, like, he kind of has a weird situation, but I mean, how many other 27-year-olds? Is he 27?
He will be by the time the season.
Yeah, like, how many of those are out there? Can't be that many. So, like, when Cal makes these comments, it's like, well, who are you talking to? Yeah. I mean, how many 26 and 27-year-olds are there out there?
And what's he worried about? He won't play us anyway, so.
I don't know. We'll see.
It's not like you're going to have to go up against DeAndre and let him dunk all over your head.
That might not be true.
Excuse me?
Are you hinting at something?
Yeah, well, you know that we don't
maybe we play him in the NCAA tournament or something.
That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Well, Kenneth trying to drop a little nuggets here on a Monday night. Guess we'll figure out whatever that means.
Yeah, I don't know. Put us in Nashville, call it a party.
Ooh. Well, we've tried the whole Nashville thing
I know.
before.
I know. I was just trying to think of a midway point.
What would be one? Let's do like a St. Louis.
Murray, Kentucky.
No, what? Let's go St. Louis. That feels even.
Another St. Louis game for the Tigers.
I like St. Louis. It's a good city. Memphis North.
That's a fair statement.
TJ, you know what we haven't done in a little while? I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a rehash, but
Hold on, my stomach's rumbling.
our sausage.
I think I'm hungry for some sausage.
The last time we made it's a little spoiled. We need to refresh it.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've looked at that, so I need.
We have jumped, for those who were curious, with the Jordan Brown edition to 44th roster cast, which is good. I think we were sitting like 62, 63.
Sure.
You add Quinterly, you jump to 37.
30s. Okay, I expected higher.
So even that I would take, but then you get clearance of DeAndre, number 9.
Oh yeah, it's still number 9. Okay.
Top 10. And I will take that all day, every day.
I mean, I think I'd be good if it was just Jordan Brown and Quinterly.
I probably would too. I mean, 37 is. Let me see what FAU is. I mean, you're easily second in.
They're probably
the
top
American.
25.
FAU as it stands is 21.
Yeah.
I would take 37th with just Quinterly and Brown.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of how to word this without people coming at me. But you specifically, you and Kenneth specifically.
You have a way of making people want to come at you, TJ.
That's so true. I'm so good at it.
I don't know.
Part of
TJ,
TJ, you have become really good at creating shitstorms on Twitter and in message boards. It's awesome.
Just because I have a difference in opinion? Like, is it that bad?
It's the world we live
Well,
in, TJ.
Let it be known, I want DeAndre to be here. I would love this team to have DeAndre. But I'm going to go pessimistically and say that it's not the worst thing in the world if he doesn't come. It's not the worst thing in the world.
Totally agree.
Because you have a ridiculous roster the way it's set up now. And by adding DeAndre, you're going to rustle some feathers. And I'm sure one of these dudes was told, like, hey, you're coming here to start. And if you add DeAndre and you add Quinterly, somebody is not starting and someone's getting pissed off. And that could lead to somebody potentially leaving.
We don't. That's going like A to Z. Like
Real quick.
Like I don't think that's true.
Okay, but no, someone may not leave, but they're definitely going to be pissed off, and that's not what I want, and I don't think that's what Penny wants. I think he's trying to get this team to gel early on.
Here's what I would say.
Well, there's no early on anymore.
No, it's that early on is over.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's less about the roster makeup and who's going to start, who's going to play. I think it's okay. Like, I want DeAndre back, but I trust Nick Jourdain enough to say if we got Nick Jourdain in the starting lineup with Jordan Brown to start the season, that is 100% okay with me.
Oh, I don't. Yeah. I mean, especially some of the stuff we've heard just about Jourdain early on in summer workout stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I'm getting excited about him.
I got some news a few days ago about he had a workout. The team was supposed to show up last week, and with all the storms that came through, a lot of flights were canceled.
So sick of the storms, man.
Yeah. It's been everywhere. And so a lot of these kids got their flights canceled, so they had to cancel. They're supposed to be in on Monday, and they didn't come. They came on Tuesday. So on Monday, Nick Jourdain was in getting a workout in by himself and did a three-point shooting drill and hit 75% of his three-pointers from NBA range.
75%.
That's what I was told.
You get in an open gym, though, and you get in a rhythm.
75%.
I'm just telling TJ, I'm just telling you.
Just telling you. That's what I heard.
In a workout, in a gym, you get in a rhythm, you just pulling it, letting it fly. Yeah, you can hit 3
With
out
the
of 4.
machine, the catch and shoot.
That's what Kenny's not telling you. He only shot 4.
Yeah, I mean, he hit 3 of 4. That's what I mean. It's like Will Coleman, right? 1 for 1.
Ooh.
100%.
Yeah, I get that the guy was probably crushing them on just catch and shoot, no pressure. You're just kind of in a rhythm, but that's still what did he shoot at Temple? I don't remember it being even a part of his game.
But he was also he battled an injury the entire year. I think he had shoulder injuries. I think his shoulder was really messed up last year.
Oh no!
So you saying he's good to go now?
That's what I mean. He's been the most consistent guy in the workout in terms of being there.
He didn't have to get surgery or anything, did he? He shot 22% last year
Yeah, that
on
ain't-
one attempted game.
Ooh. I mean,
I'm
Only
just
shot
saying,
36.
skill set wise, what you need from him, I'm totally
he's gonna
fine
do everything you
with Nick
ask him to do.
Jourdain being the starting 4.
yeah, I think I'm okay with him being the starting 4. I think he's probably your safest bet to roll out there next to Jordan Brown, because if you're putting, I don't know who I guess you'd have to manipulate some other people, but like it could be David Jones. He's kind of that.
You could put Pierre at the 4.
Yeah, you could put Pierre there. Leonard maybe even could
play
could
small
come
ball
down.
4.
Jourdain fits the best there, because I think you may need Pierre in kind of a second unit for some scoring. Because I think if you kind of think of it as just like a line change, like a talkie, and your second unit comes in, like I don't really necessarily know who's scoring in that second unit per se.
See that?
Like maybe Carl, I think he's probably in that second unit. Ashton's probably in that second unit. You know what you get with Ashton. He has the
Young,
ability to
Hardaway.
make. Yeah, I mean, like Jaden. Like, I mean, you know what you're getting with some of these guys. Someone's gonna redshirt. I think that's just inevitable. No, I think that rolling Jourdain out with the 1s and having Pierre come off the bench for shooting, I think, and obviously he could run with the 1s, but I think that makes the most sense, honestly.
Yeah. As I sit here and look, Mikey Williams is still listed in the sausage maker, and I think we can bid farewell to Mikey in a Tiger uniform, given the recent development of his trial being pushed back, his hearing being pushed back even further. Was supposed to be, this Wednesday, and is now September 9th, I want to say. I mean,
The
5th. I mean, school will have started. Like, there's no way. I don't think he's making it to campus.
No. I think if he was going to be here, he would probably could have been here by now. I don't know what.
I mean, I think you'll see it now. Like, if he's going to come, I would assume that he's going to come now and be here working out and then go back for his hearing, if that's how it's going to be. Like, I don't know what would be keeping him from just coming and joining summer workouts and then going back in September for his hearing and going with it that way.
I think that's a Memphis decision, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That
I
seems
think
fair.
Memphis has made that decision. You're not going to come on campus until we figure this out.
Yeah, until we have, And with it getting pushed to September, who's to say we don't get to the middle of August and he gets pushed again? Like, I think it's time to say deuces.
Kenny, are you saying like administration or like a penny decision?
I mean,
Probably administrative.
Because I would think of like an administrative.
I think just like,
Like Laird could have came down and
the
be like, hey, bro,
admittance.
we can't let this guy come on.
the admissions office is probably saying, like, you got 6 outstanding felonies. We're not.
Yeah.
well, we don't. And do we even know if he can leave California?
See that? Yeah, I
he
don't know.
can't. He
I mean,
played in that
maybe-
basketball tournament.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Did he have an anklet on, a house arrest?
No,
I didn't see it.
I'm just.
Didn't
I
see
mean,
it.
I don't know.
I would say it's probably a mutual decision between Penny Hardaway and the administration. You just can't, like, I just don't, and I've said this from the beginning, I just don't see how you have a guy representing your university with 6 outstanding felonies over his head. Like, you just can't. And so, but you're going to get the public response of, we're standing by him, we're going to, those kinds of things. But
Well, sure. Yeah. You don't want to just throw him under the bus with no resolution or fair.
Yeah. And you want to say innocent until proven guilty, but this one seems kind of pretty cut and dry in terms of the general idea of what happened. You can't just start shooting at people. I think that, as they're driving away, especially.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't.
Here's a better question. So we're talking about Mikey's days as a Tiger being numbered, but what about Mikey's basketball career? Like, how does this work out for him going forward? Like, I don't think he has. Like,
I said it. I mean,
is he NBA good? I mean, I'm sure someone out there thinks he's NBA good.
I think he's very, very talented. I don't know.
Kennedy Chandler's very, very talented, and we're seeing him not really be an NBA good.
I would say right now he's probably not. And I jokingly kind of said this, but it would not shock me if Mikey ended up at like an East LA second chance you situation. I'm not kidding. Like,
I don't know if that's a thing, but I could see a Netflix. Like, is there a second chance you
basketball?
Yeah.
It's all
I never saw it. I don't
It's
know.
better than the
it
football
is.
ones.
And it's at East LA.
Stop. Is
I
it really?
swear.
It's good.
Yeah.
You hadn't watched it?
No.
Oh, it's really good.
They've
I
got
watched
two-
the football ones.
They got 2 seasons. They're great.
Who do we know? Any players?
There was one guy that played for Auburn, right? The
there's
big
that-
guy, the lefty.
No, there's that LSU kid.
Yeah, that's right.
He played at Washington and LSU. Gosh, what is his name?
Washington and LSU?
Yeah, he's a 7-footer.
Lefty, big man. Yeah. I could see, honestly, Mikey going and doing more of a Ignite, like G League
Yeah, that's probably definitely the more
path.
That's probably the more.
I'm trying to think. The Ignite has they have a point guard. I cannot think of his name. He is one of the top kids in the class. I'm not gonna be able to pull this up that fast, but they have point guards, so I don't think they'd take it. What is that guy's name, dude?
Can I be honest with you? I think it's weird that Mikey hasn't and his team hasn't made that decision already. Like, it feels like things are.
Maybe it's the Ignite not one.
Yeah, I mean, I would say
maybe they've tried. And
Ignite won him.
By the way, that was Brian Penn Johnson that we were thinking of, 7-1 kid.
Yep,
from LSU.
No clue who that is. No, I've always thought he should have gone the Ignite route, personally, just because it seems to
I think that too. Just
kind of fit his personality.
I watched a lot of JJ and Mikey condensed YouTube games, and to me, they seem to be all about doing it for like the highlight reel.
Yeah,
which feels more in line with going that route.
Yeah, I'm just looking up this point guard's name. It's driving me nuts, dude. I just think I'm not sure what college opportunity he is going to have, assuming there's no jail time. I think this is going to be a settlement. It's going to be a situation where there's a settlement. There's going to be probably no actual jail time type of situation, and he's going to have to bounce back, and I just don't know who's out there going to give him a second chance, you know? And I don't know if he can, I guess, what's the Australian league that everyone does?
NBL?
NBL. Like, that's on the table, I guess, right? I mean.
Oh, yeah.
But then he's fleeing the country.
Well, that's what I'm saying. After a settlement and all that, it's fine. I'm sure he'd have to work all that out. But.
So talking about all this G League, Summer League.
Yeah.
You got some former Tigers in there pairing up, actually. Giving me a little bit of a what if FOMO of Lester and Kendrick teaming up from the Warriors. And I got to say, Lester is next level.
Man.
I mean, is he Jordan Poole 2.0?
Yeah.
You see that all over Twitter. I think did you send that earlier? But he looks, he was great here, but he really is like taken offensively to a next, like another gear.
Can I tell you what concerns me a little bit?
So much more aggressive.
Lester's the perfect example of what playing against other grown men in the G League does to your game. he spent 3 years in college and does not, 1 year in the G League, he looks like a completely different player.
Sure.
I mean, he's so much more aggressive. And I think about this and I laugh because of how bad I want him to succeed, but I want Lester to succeed so bad and be in the NBA, all because of his beef with Grant Williams.
I forgot about that.
And Admiral Schofield.
And, yeah.
Both of them, and asking him if the Go-Go's or whatever play that night. And I'm like, God, Lester, if nothing else, you got to get out of the G League and get on the roster just because of that.
I feel like he's going to make that roster.
I do too. I mean, he looks damn good.
Like, it's crazy to me. This man, I was watching the Memphis, I think it was the Memphis Alabama game from a couple of years ago when they beat them. They were 5-4, beat them in Memphis. And at that point in his career high was 21 points for Memphis. In 2 games in the summer league, he hit 28 and 27.
Yeah.
I mean, it is literally next level stuff.
It's kind of different when your job is to get paid to play basketball. You're like, you don't have to go to class. You don't have to go to study hall. Like, you're just putting up shots literally all day.
Yeah.
And so you can evolve your game so much. And I think now that it's skinny Lester, like, which is different than like his freshman year Lester. He's kind of chubby his freshman year. He's slimmed down,
A little baby fat.
Yeah, he's slimmed down some. He's learning how to use his body and his frame now. He's always kind of a big kid, like, no matter what. Even when he was thin Lester, he was still kind of just a big frame.
Yeah.
But I think he's learning how to use his body now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw it. Someone made the comparison between Jordan Poole and Lester Quinones and Draymond. They were like, oh, Lester is going to be Jordan Poole 2.0, something like that. And Draymond was like, hopefully he's got a harder chin, which made me laugh.
Turns out that I got fooled by that. It was a fake Draymond account.
Was it really?
Yes.
Dang, I wanted that to be true.
Bro,
so much.
I was like, what in the hell? When I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe
both
that.
Damn.
got full. Speaking of, well, it's not a fake account, but have y'all seen Ballsack Sports?
What'd they say?
They tweeted out a fake stat line for Amani that said he scored like 27 when 8 of 12 from the field, 6 of 7 from 3, which is all totally not right.
Oh, that's been posted all up in our Discord. Is that not true?
No, Amani reposted it thinking that was his stat line, and Ballsack Sports made it up, and he reposted it like, and everybody's like, "How the hell do you not like? How do you
not know that you went 7 of 8 from 3?
How do you think you played that well?"
Oh no.
Like, he got totally duped by Ballsack Sports.
That
my
is the preeminent Imani Bates story if I've ever heard.
So it was great.
He is currently trending on Twitter.
Imani, it's probably because of that. It happened today. And then speaking of Draymond, he doesn't tweet very much, but he has responded to T. Lasley 20 before on Twitter.
That is true. I do recall that.
It was after he elbowed Mike in the face. And I tweeted at him and said, "You are a," and tweeted the eggplant emoji. And he responded an eggplant ? And I was like, "That's not what I meant, but yes, that is what you are."
You know what I meant, man. You know what you meant.
And then
Aubergine.
other summer league news, you got Wiseman and Duran teaming up, and Kenny out here saying that Duran's taking his stuff to the next level.
I mean,
Step back threes in people's eye.
He's a grown man, by the way.
He's been a grown man since he
Like, it is absurd.
came out of the womb.
Yeah, it is absurd how large and in charge he is.
I mean, you had guys talking about his physicality and size his first year in the league. Like,
And he came out early, right?
yeah. I mean, he's a specimen.
All right, so Cal's going to complain about
he was like
27-year-old
when he got here, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Then he turned 18 in the middle of the basketball season.
Yeah, and Cal's complaining about 27-year-old man. Think about the high school kids that had to compare against Jalen Duran. Are you joking?
Talk about a safety issue. No kidding.
I've had the chance to cover James Wiseman, Moussa Cisse, Malcolm Dandridge. Who else? Who are the other big men that have been here? DeAndre.
Yeah.
All those guys. And Jalen Duran was the first guy that I ever was like physically intimidated by.
Oh, he was, still is probably. I hadn't seen him a little bit, but like When you talk about somebody being like chiseled,
Yeah.
He looked like a sculpture for real.
Create a character.
Yeah. Unreal. It's just not, it's not fair.
Yeah. I think he's got a decent little future in the NBA.
Probably so.
Someone who may not have a decent future in the NBA is James Wiseman, apparently. He's kind of on the struggle bus.
Is he?
Yeah. Obviously, it didn't work out at Golden State. I don't think it was ever going to work out. We talked about this before we were recording. It was never a great pairing. Gets moved to Detroit, and there's already like 6 big men on the roster in Detroit in the first place. But trying to catch lightning in a bottle, I get it. Right? That's obviously a lottery pick that's just sitting out there for you to take. You definitely take the swing on him. I kind of wanted Memphis to go after him because I think the pairing between he and JJJ, like that being JJJ's backup would have been nice. But to each their own. He's just and Kenny, it's to your point. Like, when's the last time he's played like serious basketball?
2018-19.
Yeah, like he played a couple of games here, then was just banged up at Golden State, just never really had an opportunity. I think he played like 15 games that one year.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be tough to go through a drought like that. You hadn't played a real season, and that's, high school, your senior year is not a real season of basketball compared to the NBA lifestyle, but.
Or college, honestly.
Right. I'm sure it's tough.
I think the story is still out on James Wiseman. I think there are a few things that he has that are just elite level skills. One of them is his speed in the open court. Like, that guy could run. Like, he's so good at that. Mm-hmm. But it's just finding out how his game translates, right? Like, sure. That's where he is. And the fact that it's 2023 and he's still having to play in the summer league is just not great. But he just needs to play ball, and he needs to be in a situation where he can just play and learn himself. And I think Detroit and Monty Williams are a perfect place for him to do that.
Yeah. I'm worried that it's going to take that next contract for him to kind of figure it out, because right now the expectations are you were a top 5 pick and that's how you should produce. Well, he's not obviously going to be extended on that because that's an overpay for who he is as a player so far. And I think that next contract is really going to be kind of like maybe not a humbling experience, but an eye-opening.
It's a make or break.
Yeah, it's going to be eye-opening in the sense that it's make or break. Like, you greatly need this. Like, and I'm sure the Lakers could take him on, and he's a cheap contract for them kind of situation. Like, that's probably how it's going to work out, now that I say it that way. But it's not looking great for him right now, and that's very surprising considering what we saw from him in 3 games of what could have been.
Well, and you look at Detroit's lineup. They just signed Isaiah Stewart to a 4-year, $60 million.
And they got 16 bigs.
And they got Jalen Duren, and it's like they got that kid from Duke, Marvin Bagley, still playing. Like, they got a stacked big man roster, but it's like, so unless James can really find his foothold fast, it looks like it might be, it's going to be a tough scenario for him.
No, definitely. And that's what I was saying, that next roster is going to be a big thing for him, just due to the fact, or that next contract, because he's not going to have those same expectations. It's going to be, hey, we're grabbing a kind of a raw product here and just giving him a shot. And I think he gets to focus on just being his best self, as opposed to trying to live up to the hype of being this, what was he, 2nd overall, 3rd overall? How am I going blank on that? Whatever he was.
He was 2nd, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. 2nd overall pick. Like, as of right now, that's what he's being compared to. It's like, we need you to be the 2nd overall pick, not we just need you to be a serviceable 10-year vet in the NBA.
Yeah.
So,
well, here's to hoping that James figures it out and has a good, long career.
Y'all had a chance to see Kendrick play much?
I have not. How's he doing?
Yeah, man, he's a baller. Like, he's just a ball player. He's that guy that when he gets on the floor, good things happen. And it's been interesting to kind of see him without. You could tell last year his ankles just bothered him the entire year.
Sure.
And those issues seem to have cleared up. And so there's a level of like kind of bounce and pop to his game right now that is different than what we saw at Memphis. Yep. But man, there's just certain things you can't control, and one of them is your genetics. And I don't know, man. I could see him getting a two-way, but I could also see him not. But he's when he's in there, good things happen.
He's a hooper.
He's at Golden State, right?
Yeah, he and Lester are playing together.
That's right. Because I remember seeing that, and I was kind of worried I was worried about him going there, because they've also taken AirPods, Brandon Podrinsky or whatever the guy's name from Santa Clara. He's kind of like a combo guard, and I feel like in that situation, that's someone who Golden State drafted that could potentially take the ball out of Kendrick's hands. Someone that's going to get a little bit more focused than Kendrick would be, as opposed to Kendrick going to a place without another, like, without competition at point guard, essentially. To Kenny's point, he may be able to pull away a two-way deal, right? I mean, we've seen who's the kid from White Station that went to Florida?
Chioza.
Yeah, Chioza. Chioza has made an NBA career now for, a handful of years. And, like, what separates them? I mean, they're relatively the same size, height-wise. Chioza may be a little heavier, maybe. I mean, that guy's been on NBA rosters for a while. You're telling me Kendrick can't be Chioza? I mean,
yeah, it was weird. I know he mentioned that he had the choice between Memphis and Golden State to play summer league with. It was weird to me that he went to Golden State, because they also brought in Yuri Collins for their summer league. They had the Pods kid. They have, obviously Lester's going to be kind of a ball dominant guard when he's out there. It just seemed a little bit strange that he chose to go to Golden State, because I think if he were to come to Memphis, I think it would have been a much different type of situation for him, where he would have gotten a lot of opportunity to shine. But again, man, the kid's just a baller. Like, there's certain people that when they get out there, it's like just good things happen when they get out there. But man, it's just, he looks like just infinite, like just exponentially smaller than everybody, and it's just,
he looks like an infant. Kenny was gonna say, "Sheesh, Ken."
I didn't say that. I said infinitely.
I heard infant.
Kendrick, I did not say infant. I promise you.
All right, let's take a break. We get back, we'll do a little conference realignment, and there's a little Memphis baseball news to touch on.
Okay,
stick around. We'll be right back. Bluff City NIL is an official partner with Coaching for Literacy, a nonprofit organization using the power of sports to impact childhood literacy. You can read more about them at coachingforliteracy.org or at Coaching for Literacy on social media platforms. Your donations to Bluff City NIL are 100% tax deductible because of our partnership together, so we thank you for supporting Memphis Tiger student athletes and helping promote the monumental cause that is childhood literacy. Back. TJ, there's been a little bit of interesting ongoings in conference realignment. The entire San Diego State fiasco, they did pull a never mind, we want back. And the Mountain West is not really playing along. For now, at least, they're withholding their conference share of revenue this year, which is, I think, almost $7 million.
Sure.
As a part of what they're saying is going to be paid towards San Diego State's exit fee. Has San Diego State really screwed themselves over?
No.
CBS Sports also came out with the report that, according to sources, the Big 12 is not targeting San Diego State. And with what's going on with the Pac-12, it doesn't seem like they are either. And San Diego State may be homeless moving forward.
So let's put a contingency on the Pac-12 saying no, because the Pac-12 is in a position where they could be losing two teams, Arizona and Colorado, to the Big 12. Or are they just going to stay two teams down? Because they're already two teams down from USC and UCLA leaving.
They could.
So they may not be out in the front saying, hey, we'll take SDSU, we'll take San Diego. But the moment they lose Arizona and Colorado, I bet their tune changes. So kind of is what it is there.
It's a weird and, quite frankly, scary spot for San Diego State to be. I wouldn't want to be in it.
I feel like they feel comfortable that the Pac-12 is going to eventually just reach out and take them.
I would have said maybe a couple of weeks ago they felt comfortable, but now that they've tried to run back to the Mountain West, I don't know that they do feel comfortable.
No, I'd say that
there's some doubt in their minds for sure.
I think so. It's definitely an interesting situation because you don't have a home, technically, is the way it looks currently.
And no one wants you in their home.
I don't know about that. I just don't think that the Pac-12 was looking to expand unless they lose. Right? I mean, if they lose Colorado,
and if they
Arizona,
can't get a TV deal figured out, I mean, we're just sitting here waiting.
Yeah, they need to get that dude, Klyavkov or whatever, George Klyavkov. Am I saying that right? Klyavkov.
Don't ask me.
He's been atrocious. I think that everyone in the Pac is just like, this dude's the worst. I think they regret hiring that guy.
So, it'll be interesting to see, because right now the Mountain West says that San Diego State will be no longer a conference member as of next July 1. So if they don't get an invitation from the Pac-12 to join next July, they're going to be, I would assume, independent.
Independent, yeah.
Until something happens.
So here's something interesting to kind of think about, because Brett Yormark has come out and said that he wants the Big 12 to add two more teams.
So he was
to 14.
He was on with I think it was BYU TV. They did an interview with him, and he said some things that actually got old pessimistic TJ maybe not so pessimistic.
I did perk up a little bit.
You created a whole checkbox list and everything. I think he sent it to Kenny. If Kenny could put it up on the screen, I don't know if we got the technology yet, but what he said some things that you felt like at least Memphis checked the box on.
Yeah.
Several of them.
I wish I had it pulled up still. That would be professional of me. Basically just saying, like, he wants teams that want to be in the Pac-12, right? There was a couple
in
of
the Big 12.
The Big 12.
They want to be there. They see their vision. They know and want to be a part of the conference moving forward, which to me...
Intentional is how
intentional about their membership at the Big 12. To me, is almost kind of a shot at those Pac-12 schools that are maybe sitting there like...
on the fence.
Right. They're waiting to see what the Pac-12 is going to do, if they're going to get a better number out of their TV deal, as opposed to waiting and it's not as good as they want. So like,
Sure.
all right, we'll go over to the Big 12. To me, that's what it feels like.
That's 100%.
And if there's a team that's out there being intentional about it, I think it's Memphis to the Big 12 fits that for sure.
Well, I think that there's been something said by the admins at Arizona. Obviously, Colorado has been in the Big 12 before, so there's some relationship there. But I think that's who he was technically hinting at. But when he talks about teams being intentional, we've heard the rumor 50,000 times that Yormark and his constituents were in Memphis talking with
Not
somebody
Memphis,
in Memphis. Yeah, just in Memphis, not on campus, not with the University of Memphis officials. and they were basically just voicing their opinion. And I think if anything, that's showing intent. And we've been through this since 3 times now, since 2016, at least. So I don't know how much more intentional Memphis can get, right? I mean, if that's one of your big thing, academics, kind of whatever there, that's probably not going to pan out that great for Memphis, considering every school pretty much running for the Big 12 to be added. If you look at all the packs, so you look at Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, Utah, Wazoo, Oregon State, even UConn, SDSU, SMU, Boise State, and USF. You look at all those teams, all those schools, however you look at it, they're all R1 status schools. So Memphis being added to this R1 status doesn't really help.
Yeah, and I mean,
here.
I know people always throw academics in there, and I don't know that it's really that big of a player.
I'm only going on it because Yormark mentioned it verbatim.
Yeah.
He also mentioned cultural fit, geography, athletic performance from football and men's basketball, and then brand upside. So I don't really know. He also mentioned leadership. I just don't know how you measure leadership necessarily. So I just kind of like just cut that one out of there because I don't really know how you measure that, right? And this is, of course, subjective in terms of cultural fit. Like, what culture do you have to fit into the Big 12?
I mean, I feel like barbecue and blues fits right in.
We're checking that box, right?
Who doesn't want to come party on Beale?
Geography. I think we are kind of the doorway to the East. You know, we can.
Wow, you're coming along to that. You've been a big coast to coast guy, and
I'm using his words when I mention coast to coast. Those are his words.
I'm just saying you haven't, when we've used the doorway to the East side, you haven't been all about that.
Well, I think that if geography matters, then adding Memphis would be beneficial. I mean, you have Cincinnati, you have UCF,
West
Virginia. If they're even going to be a college anymore, I think that they're just going to no longer exist
just
in athletics.
Too soon. I shouldn't say that word.
If UConn happens, it's not going to happen more than likely. But I mean, that's your doorway to the East. I mean, it just makes sense. You can quad those teams up, and it makes sense.
I will say, geography-wise, one thing that he mentioned that is not a box that we're checking. He did say he would like to be in all 4 time zones in that interview, and you're already in the Central Time Zone.
Sure, and that's the coast to coast aspect of it all.
Right, but it does make me feel better with that report coming out that San Diego State is not one of the candidates that they're pursuing. So when he says that, it's pointing back to your Pac-12. That's got to be
And I don't know how you get in all 4 time zones necessarily, because Oregon and Washington don't seem to be jumping anytime soon.
That would be wild.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense unless he's counting Arizona's.
I mean, UCF
Mountain Daylight Time
playing at Oregon or something.
No, that's absurd. Athletic performance from football and men's basketball. Football, kind of in a middle zone there. Because I look at these things at like a 10-year span, right? You can't look at it as what have you done for me last year? Yeah.
The last 2 years.
Yeah, you look at it in the last 10 years, Memphis has looked incredible. They look great from a G5 perspective. You've been to a New Year's Bowl. I mean,
you've played for several titles, won 2 titles, a share of 1 in 13. You won it in 19.
Yeah, everything you're saying is exactly what they've said about Cincinnati and Houston.
Games.
That's why they've taken them to.
Yeah.
So maybe not Houston that much, but definitely Cincinnati and UCF, I should say.
Sure.
So you check that box. Men's basketball, obviously you check that box. We're a national brand basketball. So you definitely check that box. And then brand upside. I don't necessarily know how you measure brand upside either, but I feel like that's a national brand. I just said it with basketball. The Memphis logo is very recognizable.
Oh, you wear Memphis anywhere in the country and at least one person will say something to you. I find that to be true.
I was wearing a Memphis jacket at the Vikings game. So we're in Minneapolis, had a Vikings game, had like a Memphis pullover because it was kind of chilly out. And the guy was like, is that Memphis or Memphis State? And I was like,
yes.
Yes. That was my answer. I was like, yes. It was Memphis, like University of Memphis. But I was just like, yeah. Like, that's fine. But someone at rando in Minneapolis recognized it.
We got brand recognition, baby.
So, I don't know how you necessarily measure that, but Memphis definitely checks the boxes of things that he's mentioning. I just think when it's all said and done, you're going to prioritize Arizona and Colorado because they just do more for you. We've talked about the pro rata 50,000 times. They just do more for you. Like they do. And I just don't think it's going to bode well for Memphis.
Sure. So right now, I mean, we need that Pac-12 TV deal. Figure it out.
Do we?
I think yes. I mean, I think that's what the holdup. Like if Arizona or Colorado are making a decision, I feel like they're waiting on that.
So
what does it benefit them to leave the Pac-12 if they get a comparable number to what the Big 12 is offering?
Something new.
I mean, do you want something? I mean, if it's just the two of you, is like you've mentioned before, Arizona State, are they really going to leave Arizona State and all those? I mean, they've built
seems like they're
rivalries
going
with
to
a lot of
yeah.
those teams. Like,
well, we've seen rivalries break
if
up.
that's the case, then why aren't they just going ahead and leaving now? If it doesn't matter, numbers wise.
And I think that Arizona and Colorado have probably voiced that to an extent that, like, obviously not going to come out and say, like, hey, no matter what their number is, we're coming over. But they've definitely probably voiced the opinion of we're extremely interested in being in the Big 12. We think that, Arizona and Texas aren't very far apart. So us being able to, I mean, what is it? Where's Texas Tech? Lubbock? Mm-hmm. That's not that far from Phoenix. I don't know if you want to Google map it. It's not that far. So it's not like I
don't know how far it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're saying we're going to make a hell of a road trip over to Lubbock, Texas. So, and I think that Arizona AD or someone came out and said something specifically about Lubbock. I'd have to find that quote. But if you have...
How far do you think it is from Phoenix to Lubbock?
I mean, are we talking miles? Like 600 miles? Like
hours.
Hours?
To drive.
I'm going to say it's probably like 11.
Trey's looking it up right now.
I did type it in, but it hadn't come up yet.
11 hours and 4 minutes, baby.
Yeah. I mean,
Mine says 9:52.
How many miles is that?
Kenny's taking the long way. Oh, you said Phoenix. I looked up Tucson.
738 miles.
Yeah, I said 600 miles. I mean, yeah, it's not like it's absurdly like on the opposite side of the country, right? I mean, it's not like you're.
Would you drive it or would you fly it?
Fly.
They talked about this in On the Bluff yesterday. What's your sorry to completely hijack. What's your time limit in terms of flying and driving?
I think it depends on destination.
Anything over 6, I think I'm flying.
You go to the beach all the time and drive.
You can't really fly into those places though.
You can fly into Destin or Panama City.
You're gonna fly into Tallahassee?
This is a great question because my wife and I are debating this route. We have a wedding. One of my best friends is getting married in Kansas City. And we're debating flying or driving. It's
kids going or no?
No.
I need to know the cost.
It's a 7+ hour drive, which is, I mean, basically driving.
It's to the beach.
Yeah. But it's like, I'm not going to the beach.
Here's
the problem. There's not great flights. So you're going to have to connect.
What about your transportation on the ground when you get there?
I don't know. We hadn't talked about that.
I would drive 7 hours drive. Then you don't have to buy a rental car.
Here's the other problem. The wedding is the Saturday after Memphis plays Navy on Thursday night. So, and I've got to be there Friday in time for a rehearsal dinner.
That's tough.
So a part of me really wants to fly. I just wake up, get on a plane, 4.5 hours, I'm there.
Were you part of the fly or drive crew to the Cotton Bowl?
I flew.
Yeah, you flew. We drove. So that is my distance right there. If it's
8
longer,
hours.
If it's longer than that, no chance. It was
Yeah.
like 6. It wasn't 8, was it?
To Dallas, 8 hours.
I think you can make it like 6 hours.
I think we got to make it 6. My wife drives like
I'm
100.
learning that I'm a very slow driver. Apparently.
Oh,
I
okay.
am a
Well,
slow
then that's,
driver.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's about 6 hours. It's my cutoff.
That feels like a good cutoff. I think we'll probably fly. We'll see. Anyway, we need that Pac-12 deal done. We got dominoes that we need to fall. I can't sit here and wait around for it anymore.
Trey and I are going to differ here. I don't think you want, as a Memphis fan, I don't think you want those dominoes to fall.
You don't want any domino?
I think you're going to be left out cold.
We've already said any movement is better than no movement.
No, I take it all back. I don't think you want anything. Because Memphis fans are going to get real upset if SMU goes to the Pac-12 and we're still sitting here in the American.
That would suck.
You see what I'm saying? I don't think you want that. Who are you going to add now?
We've talked about it. Throw App State, somebody in there.
The Bobcats at Texas Southern.
You don't need another Texas school. We got UTSA.
I know App State's the answer, by the way. You add App State. They should have been added the last time.
I mean, I don't even, or Coastal.
More Coastal. I'll take that. Their coach is gone.
So?
James Madison. Like, I feel like I could add a couple of different people better than who we have now. Anyway, I think that's going to be very upsetting if we're stuck in the American and SMU and all of our friends are gone.
I do think, yeah, if there's movement, SMU leaves and we're still here, I will. Tigers Untapped may no longer be recording.
I mean, freaking hanging out with UAB all day and Southern Miss.
At least for a couple of weeks.
Let's not forget the powerhouse of Rice, another Texas school.
Gross.
They've got grades.
So gross.
Academics, they come into play.
They used to be good at baseball. I don't think they are anymore. Speaking of baseball.
Hell of a segue, Trey.
Tiggs, Dalton Fowler, pitcher, was drafted, the 9th round? I think he was 273 overall.
Okay.
To Tampa Bay Rays. So shout out to old Dalton getting selected at 273 overall.
Yeah, we're starting to see the commitments go the other way around now. After, I guess we've never really talked about, have we talked about him, Reiser getting hired?
Yeah, we talked about it a couple
Very
weeks
briefly.
ago.
It's just been so long since we last filmed, but now they brought in Austin Hannigan, went to Lewisburg down in Olive Branch. He's committed to the Tigers.
Getting some of that local talent.
Speaking of local talent, they also brought back Riley Davis, who was a catcher at Louisiana Monroe. He is a Colliervillian. What's the demonym?
Kenny, what do you guys call yourselves?
As a local Colliervillian, it's Colliervillian.
It's Colliervillian, right?
I mean, sure.
So you're a Villian. Colliervillian? That just sounds so weird. Colliervillian? Colliervillian. It's got to be Colliervillian.
Collierin. I don't know.
Anyway, he's from Collierville. And he went to LA Monroe, played catcher, and now he's back home. So just bringing local talent back.
That's what we need. It's a hotbed of baseball talent.
It really is.
Got to get those local kids playing for the Tigs. All right, speaking of Collierville and Villians.
The segues with this guy.
You have
buttery smooth.
It's like he took a week off of doing content and now became like Segway King. What is going on?
I don't know. Sometimes, a little time away, you come back a little bit better.
It works like sharper.
It works like that in golf too.
1%.
Sometimes
1% better.
This was great. Shout out to Hook Point.
This one is probably their most popular. A couple sips, I'm not gonna lie, kind of tasted like apple juice to me, like beer and apple juice.
Yeah,
I'm curious if there's some apple involved. I don't see it on the can. I was trying to read it, but I got some hints of just apple juice. I guess is what that would be. Decent can. I mean, nothing too sexy about the can.
Right.
Straight and to the point.
I don't know how I feel about the angel wings.
So background. He was in
feels like a tramp stamp tat.
The Air Force or the Navy. I cannot remember. Like the owner guy was in the.
Oh, really?
He was in the military.
Now I feel terrible.
Yeah, you should.
I just can't believe you glossed over that. That was.
He was in the military, and the wings, I'm sure, play some type of role into it. But that's why.
So here's the story of the flat hat. Legend has it that in the early days of aviation, a particularly daring pilot struck a pedestrian on the head with the wheel of his low-flying plane, crushing the new top hat the man was wearing and inspiring the term flat hat.
Well,
can you imagine flying so low that the wheel of your plane crushed a man's hat?
Could you imagine?
And nobody got injured.
The surprise that would be in my pants after my hat was flattened like that, dude.
Yo. Whoa.
You just minding your business
Speaking
and some
of
dude crushes
surprises
your
in
head
your-
like that?
Just this was good.
I like the beer. I think it's really good.
We're
I've had
gonna
it.
have to get some more hook points on the show.
I don't know what all they can, physically can. We can go do live shows, whatever.
Bring a keg.
Can he bring
in.
all
We
this
gotta-
equipment?
Get the fridge out of here. Get a mini keg right there.
Oh, that'd be on something.
Could. And wow, let's get that hooked up.
Pretty good. The can is simple.
It's fine. It feels very middle of the road.
Yeah, I'd say like a 6.1 out of 10. Like it's very simple.
I mean, I was
just
gonna
not
say-
much to it.
I'm gonna go on brand. 6 flat.
Wow.
Feels like a flat 6 here.
Wow. The beer is good though.
It was good. I mean, it's not. The crushability is there.
No excuses, no regrets, no audience needed.
It's not my favorite that we've had on the show,
No.
but it is definitely 7.7.
I was gonna say 7.6, but you can definitely have like 10 of these and feel okay. It's just so smooth, and it tastes again like apple juice.
And at 97 calories for a pint, I mean, you're keeping your waistline happy.
that is probably the skinniest beer that we have ever done. Where'd you see? Oh, I see 97 calories there. Yeah. So low calorie beer.
So shout out to the folks over at Hook Point.
Hook
Go
Point,
get you
man.
guys a flat hat with the tramp stamp.
Yeah, hit up that Ready Room if you're in East Memphis.
All right. If you guys haven't already, subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe to BluffCityMedia.co. Use TJ and Trey as your promo code. Get 10% off. Join the Discord. All kinds of nuggets dropping in there anytime we got news. Check out the other shows we got on the Bluff, the Sane Show, all our Grizzly Bear Blue stuff. And tune in next week. Go with the cold beer, stay for the hot takes. Peace.
If you enjoyed this episode of Tigers Untapped, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Like and subscribe at Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports.